The sky above the planet was the color of ashes. Broken towers stood like the bones of a dead city. The wind blew dust through empty streets. Everything was quiet, until the old radio cracked. Jace stopped walking. He turned toward the sound. The radio on his hip was picking up something, crackle, static, then a voice, small, weak, frightened. "Hello? Is someone there?" Jace froze. He was standing in the middle of a war ruin. There hadn't been a signal here in years. He turned the dial. "My mama's not waking up. She's breathing, but she won't move." Jace felt a chill crawl down his back. Child's voice, alien, but clear. He held the radio close to his mouth. "Who are you?" he asked. "Where are you?" There was a pause. Then the voice whispered, Are you human? Will you come get us?" Jace had come to this dead zone for scrap metal, not to be a hero. He was a scavenger, a quiet man. He didn't talk much and he trusted no one. But something about that voice. He couldn't walk away. He took out a map, scanned the signal, and marked the location. It was coming from the heart of the ruins, Zone Red 7. A no-entry zone since the war. They said nothing lived there. They said only ghosts remained. As he moved through the wreckage, the voice came again. "The building is broken and the floor is cracked. Mama's under it. I don't know what to do." Jace climbed over fallen walls, careful with each step. The dust burned his lungs. His visor was old and scratched. The wind howled like something alive. But he kept going, closer and closer. Finally, he saw it. A small, half-buried building. The roof was gone. One wall had collapsed. Inside, he saw movement, a flicker of light. A figure. He stepped in slowly. There, in the corner of the broken room, sat a little alien girl. She was no older than 6. Her skin was a soft blue. Her eyes were large and glowing faint green. Her clothes were torn, her knees scraped. She looked up at him, afraid but hopeful. "You're a human," she said quietly. Jace nodded. "I heard your voice." She stood slowly and pointed to the rubble beside her. "My mama's under there." Jace moved closer. A piece of the ceiling had fallen. Under it he saw the shape of a woman. Taller, curled around something. Jace checked her pulse. She was alive, but weak, unconscious. "She kept me warm," the girl said. "She didn't move when the sky broke." Jace looked at the girl. "What's your name?" She hesitated. "Luma." "Okay, Luma," he said. "I'm Jace. I'm going to get you both out of here." Her eyes filled with tears. "You're not going to leave her?" "No," he said. "I won't leave anyone." Jace activated his scanner. The rubble was too heavy to lift alone. He set up a pulse marker for rescue, but the area had no signal towers. The beacon was weak. It could take hours. Or no one might come at all. He pulled out a small heater and gave it to Luma. He wrapped her in his jacket. She held his hand. "You're the first person who came," she whispered. He looked down at her. "Why? Did you call out?" he asked. "I found the radio in a bag. Mama said never use it, but I waited so long, and I thought maybe someone good would hear me." Jace didn't answer, because now all he could think was, what if he hadn't? Outside, the wind picked up. A red warning flashed on his visor. Toxic dust storm approaching in 45 minutes. He looked at the unconscious mother, and the small girl now asleep against his arm. Time was running out. He had a choice. Stay and hope for help, or carry them both, and run for higher ground. Jace stood up. He lifted the mother onto his shoulder, slowly, carefully. He held Luma's hand tight. "We're leaving," he said. "Where?" she asked sleepily. He looked at the broken sky. "Somewhere better than here." As they moved through the ruins, her voice came again, this time softer. "Jace, will you really take us?" He looked down at her and nodded once. "Yes," he said. "I already have." Jace moved carefully through the broken streets. Dust blew like smoke. Sharp metal stuck out from the ground. The little alien girl, Luma, held his hand tightly with her small fingers. In his other arm, he carried her unconscious mother. She was heavier than he expected, but he didn't stop. Luma looked up at him. "She's getting colder," she whispered. "Will she die?" Jace shook his head. "Not if I can help it." But inside, he wasn't sure. They reached a fallen building that looked safer than the others. It had 3 standing walls and part of a roof. Jace set the mother down gently. She didn't open her eyes. Her breathing was slow, shallow. Jace checked her vitals again. Her body was losing heat fast. He turned on a portable heater and placed it near her chest. He wrapped her with the emergency blanket from his bag. Then he turned to Luma. "How long were you two trapped here?" he asked. Luma hugged her knees. "I don't know," she said. "After the fire in the sky, we ran and hid. Mama said humans would come, but no one did." Jace looked around the ruin. The walls were scorched. There were burn marks on the floor. He noticed something strange. An old medical drone smashed in the corner, its signal light blinking faintly. That wasn't natural damage. Someone had destroyed it. He crouched beside Luma. "Why were you and your mom left behind?" Luma looked down. "Mama was a scientist," she said slowly. "She worked with humans, but then they stopped liking her. They said she knew too much." Jace's eyes narrowed. "Knew what?" "I don't know," Luma whispered. "Mama never told me. She just said we had to hide. That some humans don't protect. Some humans take." Jace sat back in silence. A cold feeling passed through him. He'd heard rumors, stories of secret alien-human research during the war. Some said those who helped the humans were used and then tossed away, forgotten, like trash. Now he was starting to believe it. Luma pulled something from her pocket. A small silver pendant. She opened it. Inside was a tiny photo, her mother, and a human man in uniform. "That's my papa," she said. Jace blinked. "Human?" She nodded. "But I never met him. Mama said he went missing before I was born." Jace stared at the photo. The face looked familiar. Very familiar. His heart skipped. He didn't say anything. Not yet. Suddenly, a sound outside. Jace stood quickly and looked through a crack in the wall. Dust moved. Something was crawling through the debris. Not a person. A search drone. Military class. Red light blinking. Scanning. Looking. Jace pulled Luma close and covered her mouth. Gently. She didn't cry. She didn't move. She just looked at him with wide, trusting eyes. He watched the drone pass, slowly. Carefully. Then it moved on. After a long silence, Jace exhaled. Luma looked up. "They're looking for us," she said. Quietly. "They don't want us to leave this place." "Why?" Jace asked. "Because if Mama lives," Luma whispered, "they'll be in trouble." Jace stood. He looked down at the sleeping mother, then at the girl. "We need to get out of here. Tonight. But where will we go?" He opened a hidden panel in his backpack and pulled out a folded map. "I know a place," he said. "An old human outpost. If we get there, I can call for help." Luma tilted her head. "And they'll come this time?" He looked at her. "They'll have to," he said. He picked up the mother again, now wrapped in the blanket. Luma held his leg tightly. Then she whispered, "Jace?" "Yeah?" "If they come for us and you have to choose, please don't leave Mama behind." Jace stopped walking. He knelt down slowly and looked her in the eyes. "I didn't come all this way just to save one," he said. "I'm taking you both, even if I have to fight the whole galaxy." Outside, in the shadows above them, a drone silently turned. Its red eye blinked once and sent a signal. Target found. Jace walked fast. The mother was heavy in his arms. The heat pack was running low. and the girl Luma followed behind, gripping his jacket. The sky above them turned darker. Dust clouds gathered again. A storm was coming, and so were the hunters. They reached the edge of the old ruins. What used to be a station, now a skeleton of metal beams and rust. Jace stepped over broken glass and into the main hall. The roof had collapsed, but the walls still held. It wasn't safe, but it was better than outside. He placed the mother down, gently in a corner, checked her breathing, and activated the last charge on the heater. Luma sat beside her, whispering words in her own language. Jace watched. He didn't understand the words, but he understood the pain. Then Luma reached into her satchel. She pulled out a half-burned map, folded and torn. "My mother made this," she said softly. "When we ran, she marked the places we could go, places where humans won't find us." Jace raised an eyebrow. Why would she avoid humans? Luma looked down. Because some humans wanted her gone. Jace opened the map carefully. There were lines in red ink, notes in a language he didn't read. But one mark stood out, a circle, far from here, labeled in human writing. Safe if trusted. He pointed to it. "What is this?" Luma looked surprised. "That's where Mama said we'd be free." Jace's eyes narrowed. "That location, it's an old research outpost. Buried. No one goes there anymore," Luma whispered. "She said it was the only place humans promised not to touch." Suddenly a sharp beep came from Jace's side bag. His transport bot, a small spider-shaped walker, was back online. It limped out from behind a crate, one leg sparking, one sensor dark. Jace tapped its core. "Status?" he asked. The bot's voice was broken. "Power 6%, leg, damaged, lift capacity, low." Jace frowned. He needed it to carry the mother if they were to make it. He opened the back panel and rewired some circuits. The bot jolted. Luma watched quietly, then asked, "Why are you helping us so much?" Jace didn't look up. "Because you asked me to." He lifted the mother and strapped her gently to the bot's back. "Walk slowly," he told it. "Stay close to me." The bot gave a weak beep and followed him. Luma walked beside it, her small hand resting on her mother's. They moved quietly across the wasteland, but Jace's mind was racing. Why would a human research base be marked as safe on an alien's map? What kind of knowledge did this mother carry? And why were drones, with human tech, hunting them now? They stopped to rest near a cracked pipeline. Jace scanned the sky. It was too quiet. No wind. No birds. No machines. He looked at Luma. "Have you ever seen anyone else out here? Since the war?" She nodded slowly. "Once. A black ship. No lights. No noise. They flew low and dropped something, then left." Jace felt his stomach twist. He'd heard of those. Unmarked ships, used to clean up what governments didn't want found. Usually meant something important was buried where they dropped. As the sky turned orange, Luma handed him a piece of paper from her coat pocket. It was part of a file, old and dirty, but the top corner still showed, classified, human, alien. "Interface project." Jace read it once, then again. He had heard of this. A secret test to create peaceful bonding, linking human and alien minds through biotech. It failed. The scientists disappeared. All files were erased, or so they said. Now, one of them lay unconscious on a broken robot in front of him, and her child was asking him to keep going. Suddenly the bot stopped. Its eyes flashed red. Jace turned, just in time to hear a mechanical click. A trap. Too late. The ground beneath them lit up, blue lights flashing in a circle. An auto beacon had been triggered. Luma gasped. "They're coming again." Jace grabbed the bot, pulled Luma behind a rock, and covered them with his jacket's camo shield. He whispered, "Don't move. Don't speak." Above them something flew past. 2 hunter drones, black, silent, deadly. They circled, scanned, then left, for now. When silence returned, Jace finally spoke. "We don't have time. We need to reach the outpost before dark." Luma looked up at him. "But what if we're not safe there either?" Jace looked down at the little girl. "You said your mother trusted that place," he said. Luma nodded. "Then I'll trust her too," Jace said. He looked ahead, toward the broken hills, and falling sun. "Let's go." The sun was gone. The cold wind returned, and the mother still had not opened her eyes. Jace, Luma, and the broken transport bot climbed the last hill before the valley below. There, hidden by rocks and half-buried metal, stood the place marked, on the map, an old silent human outpost, long forgotten. But someone had been here recently. Jace noticed fresh footprints in the dirt, too big to be Luma's, too new to be old. He raised his arm, holding Luma back. His other hand hovered over his sidearm. "Stay behind me," he whispered. They entered the outpost slowly. The doors were open, the lights inside flickering. The walls still had the old human symbols, signs of a place once full of voices and life. Now only echoes, but then a faint sound, a whisper, not from the hallway, from the transport bot. Jace rushed over. The mother's eyes fluttered. She was waking. Luma gasped and dropped beside her. "Mama!" The mother's voice was dry and soft. "Luma, you're okay." She looked around. Her gaze stopped on Jace. She tried to sit up, but pain stopped her. Jace helped her gently. The mother looked at him for a long time. Then she spoke in clear, slow English. "You're not with them, are you?" "No," Jace said. "I came because your daughter asked me to." The woman closed her eyes briefly, then whispered, "Then you've already done more than most." Luma reached into her coat and gave her mother the pendant. The woman clutched it tightly. "My husband," she said. "They erased him. Erased all proof." Jace stayed quiet. He remembered the photo. He remembered the man's face. It matched the name on his own recruitment file. Captain Reese Kellen, a war hero, a traitor, some said. Now, the father of the girl beside him. The mother took a deep breath. "There's something inside me," she said. "Something I wasn't supposed to keep." Jace leaned in. "What do you mean?" She touched her chest, right above the heart. "They called it the key. A living memory module. It stores data inside the body. Biological encryption. The human military wanted it destroyed after the war ended. Why? Because it holds the truth. About peace. About betrayal. About what they did to us." Luma looked between them, confused. Jace said quietly, "If they find out you're alive, they'll come," the mother finished, "and they won't ask questions." Jace looked at his scanner. A faint signal blinked in the corner. Not from the base. Not from him. A drone. Close. Watching. He swore under his breath. "We don't have long. Can you walk?" The mother nodded weakly. "I'll try." Jace helped her off the bot. Luma supported her too. They headed deeper into the base. Inside a sealed room, Jace found an old med station. It still had working lights and a basic bed. He sat the mother down and activated the scanner. As it beeped and scanned her body, Jace watched the screen carefully. There, near her heart, a glowing symbol, shaped like a spiral star. The key. It was real. The mother spoke again. "My husband helped create it. He believed in peace between humans and alien races. He trusted them." Her eyes darkened. "But they used him. And when he refused to turn us over, they killed him." Luma stared at her, tears rising. "He didn't leave us?" she whispered. "No, sweet child," her mother said. "He died protecting us." Jace stepped away, staring at the ground. All these years, he had followed orders, believed the system. But now he had proof of betrayal, proof the war never really ended. Suddenly, a sharp beeping from the door. Jace drew his weapon. The outer sensor had tripped. Something, or someone, was coming, and fast. He turned to the mother. "We need to move again, now." She looked at him, calm despite the fear. "If you run, they'll chase you," she said. "If you hide, they'll find you." Jace clenched his jaw. "Then what do we do?" The mother looked at him with fire in her eyes. "We show them what truth looks like." The outpost lights flickered as the storm rolled in. The wind howled like a scream through broken vents. Outside, the sky had turned red, and Jace knew they didn't have much time. The mother sat up slowly on the medbed, wrapped in a heat blanket. Her face was pale, but her eyes were awake now. She had strength again. Luma sat beside her, holding her hand tightly. Jace stood near the sealed door, checking the outside cam feed. "There's movement in the storm," he said. "Drones?" the mother asked. Jace nodded. "They're scanning, waiting for the wind to pass." Lightning flashed through the cracks in the roof. Then a loud crash. Part of the ceiling caved in, sending dust everywhere. Luma coughed, eyes wide with fear. Jace rushed over and pulled both of them under the support beam. The storm had found them. The air inside the base turned heavy. Metal groaned. Every sound felt like a warning, and then the lights went out. Total darkness. Only the red emergency light glowed above the door. The mother breathed slowly, her voice low. "Jace, this place won't hold. I know. We can't stay underground. If this storm hits the power core, it'll blow." Jace turned to Luma. "Can you run?" She nodded quickly, her small fingers gripping his hand. The mother stood on shaking legs. "I can move, just not fast." He opened the side panel on the wall and pulled out 2 oxygen masks and 1 emergency shield cloak. He gave the masks to them. Then he knelt in front of Luma and zipped her into his outer jacket. "You stay with me, no matter what, understand?" She looked up with big eyes and whispered, "I trust you." The doors groaned. Dust blasted in. They stepped outside into a world of chaos. The storm hit like fire. Red sand flew in every direction. It felt like knives against the skin. Jace held the mother's arm with one hand and carried Luma in the other. The cloak flapped around them, barely holding back the wind. They pushed forward, step by step, through the storm. Suddenly, the mother fell. Her legs gave out. She screamed as her body hit the ground hard. Luma shouted, "Mama!" Jace turned fast, shielded her, and reached for the mother. But the wind tore them apart. Luma slipped from his grip. He shouted her name, but the storm swallowed the sound. Then everything slowed. He saw Luma crawling on the ground toward her mother. The wind pushing her, her little hands grabbing the fabric of her mother's coat. She covered her with her own small body, trying to protect her, trying to save her. Jace ran, through the storm and threw the cloak over them. He fell to his knees and wrapped his arms around both of them. "Don't close your eyes," he yelled. "Don't stop breathing," the mother whispered. "Luma," but the girl didn't move. She was still. Too still. Jace shook her gently, then harder. No response. He felt panic rise in his throat. "No, no, no, stay with me," he begged. "You're not dying in this storm." He placed his ear to her chest, faint beat. Faint. But there. She was alive. He pulled both of them tighter against him, and waited for the storm to pass, waited for the sky to stop burning, waited for the sound to fade, and finally, it did. Hours later, the sky turned gray again. The wind was quiet. Jace carried Luma in his arms. The mother limped beside him. They reached a small cave in the rocks, just enough to rest. He laid Luma down and checked her again. She was breathing, but barely. "She needs real help," Jace said. The mother nodded. "There's a supply station not far from here," she whispered. "It's off-grid, my husband built it." Jace looked at her. "And you think it still works?" She met his eyes. "It has to." He checked his bag. 1 charge left on his signal flare. One shot, he said. If it doesn't work, she placed her hand on his shoulder. It will. You saved us this far. Jace looked at the little girl lying in his arms, hair full of dust, skin cold. He held her tighter, and for the first time, he prayed the sky would answer. The cave was dark and quiet. Jace sat with Luma in his arms. Her small chest rose and fell, but she hadn't woken up. Her skin was cold, too cold. The mother leaned against the wall, shaking. Her strength was almost gone, but her eyes were still sharp. Jace had fired the last flare signal 10 minutes ago. No, answer yet, just silence until a sound in the distance, not thunder, not wind, engines. Jace stood up fast, pulling out his weapon. The mother grabbed his arm. Wait, she said. Not all help comes with kindness. Outside the cave, the sky flashed red again. 3 dark ships lowered from the clouds, unmarked, silent, deadly. Jace's scanner lit up. Multiple life forms, not friendly, weapons active. They followed the signal, he whispered. The mother looked at her child still unconscious. They don't care if she lives, she said. They came to erase the truth. Jace loaded his last energy cell. I won't let them. But the mother put her hand on his chest. If they see you, they'll kill you too. He looked at her. I'm not hiding. Then, slowly, the mother stood, shaking, unsteady, but tall. She walked to the entrance of the cave. Her coat flapped in the cold wind. Her voice shook, but it was loud. Come out, cowards. If you want me, I'm here. Jace was stunned. You can't face them, alone. I'm not, she said. You gave me the time I needed. She tapped her chest, the place where the key lived. And then, she touched her wrist device and activated a command. Suddenly, from behind the hills, a blue light pulsed in the sky. A satellite awoke. It had been hidden, sleeping for years. Now it came online, and broadcasted everything. The mother's image. Her voice. Her truth. To everyone, every open channel, human and alien alike. The hunters stopped their march. Too late. The world was watching, and they couldn't erase her now. The leader of the black-clad soldiers stepped forward. His mask clicked. You were warned, he growled. But she didn't move. Jace stepped beside her, weapon ready. The mother spoke again. You took my husband. You tried to take my daughter. Now, you've lost everything. The soldier raised his weapon. But before he could fire, a second flare rose, not Jace's, from the north. Signal. Then another, and another. Ships were coming, not enemy ones. These had real colors, real symbols, peacekeepers, witnesses, people who still believed in justice. The enemy soldiers turned, hesitated. The leader looked back. Then, they vanished. One by one, they stepped into their ship and flew off. Gone. No fight, no words. Just gone. The mother fell to her knees, breathing hard. Jace caught her. You did it, he whispered. No, she said. We did. Back inside the cave, Luma stirred. Her eyes opened slowly. Is it over? She asked weakly. Jace smiled and brushed her hair back. Yeah, kid, he said. It's over. She blinked up at him. You stayed. Of course, he said. You asked me to. Outside, the wind was calm again. The sky cleared, and for the first time in years, sunlight touched the ruins. Jace looked out at the land beyond, and saw not a dead world, but a new beginning. The wind was soft now. Warm sunlight touched the cracked stones outside the cave. Jace stood quietly, watching the sky turn gold. Behind him, the mother held her daughter in her arms. Luma was awake, tired, but alive. Her small fingers clutched the silver pendant again. They had survived the storm. They had faced the hunters. And now, finally, they were free. But something still pulled at Jace's heart. He sat beside the girl. "Hey," he said softly. "You never told me your full name." Luma blinked at him, then looked at her mother. The woman nodded gently. The girl smiled. "My full name is Luma Espera Kellen," she whispered. Jace froze. That last name, Kellen, the same name as the captain in the pendant photo, the man who vanished before she was born, the man Jace once looked up to. He reached into his pocket and pulled out an old bent photo, the same one he carried for years. It was the last team photo of Captain Reese Kellen's squad, and right there, in the back row, Jace himself, young, fresh, loyal. He showed it to the mother. She stared at it, and her eyes filled with tears. "You were one of them," she said softly. Jace nodded. "I was just a soldier. I followed orders. I didn't know what they did to him. What they did to you." The mother took his hand. "But now, you chose differently." Luma looked at the photo, then at Jace. "You knew my father?" Jace smiled gently. "He was the best man I ever served with." The girl's eyes filled with wonder. "Then you really are the right one." Jace raised an eyebrow. "For what?" Luma reached into her coat again. She pulled out a second pendant, this one shaped like a small star. She opened it. Inside was no picture, just words, in her father's handwriting. "If I don't make it, protect them. Whoever finds this, she's not just a child. She's the hope of everything we believed in." Jace's throat tightened. He looked at the girl. She was smiling now, braver, lighter, as if a weight had lifted. The mother stood slowly. "Luma was part of the final peace experiment," she said. "Her body, her mind, can link with both alien and human signals. She was born to bring both sides together." Jace stared at the girl. "She's the key too?" "No," the mother said. "She's more than that." From the sky, ships began to arrive, not to fight but to land. Some human, some alien. They had seen the broadcast. They had heard the truth. Now they came with open hands. Jace walked with the girl to the top of the hill. Below, leaders were stepping off ships. Soldiers, scholars, reporters. They all stared up at the little girl standing by the human man. The child of two worlds. Luma looked up at Jace. "Will you stay with me?" she asked. He knelt beside her. "I said I would. And I will." She held his hand tightly. "Even if it gets hard?" He nodded. "Especially then." The mother joined them, standing tall, no longer weak, no longer running. And as the leaders gathered and the people watched, Luma stepped forward. She didn't shout. She didn't cry. She just said one thing. "My name is Luma. It means light, and I am not alone anymore." The hill glowed with morning light, and from that moment on, people stopped calling her the alien girl. They called her Hope.